we're going to look at the process for long division. So we'll look at if we had the problem 1025 divided by 32. That looked like this when you were first learning long division. The 32 is called the divisor, the 1025 is called the dividend, and the answer is called the quotient. I'm going to put steps. The first step is you look at 32 and you go 3, you think to yourself 3 goes into 10, so you do a divide. You divide the first part. 3 goes into 10 3 times, so I'm going to put a 3 here. The next step is you multiply. So you're going to multiply the 3 times the 32, which gives us 96. The third step is after you've multiplied 3 times 32 is 96, you are going to subtract. I sometimes say we change signs to subtract. 102 minus 96 is 6. And now we're ready for the fourth step down. Our fourth step is you bring down the next term. We bring down the 5. And now after we do that, we go back and the whole process continues. So now we look, 3 goes into 6, roughly 2. So we divide, we get 2. Then we multiply 2 times 32, 64. Then we subtract, change signs to subtract, 1. There's nothing else to bring down, so this answer was 32, which we have a remainder of 1. And the way we write the remainder, we put remainder over the divisor. We're going to use these steps to actually do a long division problem algebraically. We have this problem for long division. I want you to divide this cubic polynomial by x minus 1. Our first step is we're going to set it up like long division. First step, we're going to put x minus 1 into x cubed plus 6x squared minus 2x plus 3. We're going to follow the steps that I had done for the numbers. First step is we are going to divide. So to divide, we're going to divide the first term in the dividend by the first term of the divisor. So our first step is we will divide. We are doing x cubed divided by x. Well, 1x cancels and it just gives you an x squared. So right here we put x squared. Our next step, as we can see, is to multiply. We are going to multiply that x squared times both the x and the negative 1. We are multiplying x squared times x minus 1, which you can see x squared times x gives us an x cubed. X squared times negative 1 minus x squared. X squared times x, x cubed. X squared times negative 1 minus x squared. But our next step is to subtract. And to subtract, I like to tell people you change signs to subtract. Because subtraction is just having added negatives. This is going to become a minus. This changes signs as a plus. Subtracting, the first should subtract out. And now we're left with 6x squared plus 1x squared. That gives us 7x squared. We're now ready for the fourth step. And the fourth step is bringing down the next term. So our fourth step is to bring down the next term. And the next term is negative 2x. We bring down the negative 2x. And now the whole thing goes back and it continues that cycle. The cycle continues, x going into 7x squared. So we're talking about 7x squared divided by x. That's going to give us 7x. We're going to multiply, that's 7x times each of x and negative 1. 7x times x, 7x squared. 7x times negative 1, negative 7x. Now subtract, we're going to change signs to subtract. This becomes a minus, this becomes a plus. You know you're doing everything correct if the first terms subtract out. And you have negative 2x plus 7x is 5x. We have our 5x, and now we're ready to bring down the last term, which is plus 3. And the whole thing recycles again. So now recycling, I'm dividing. 5x divided by x is 5. I'm now going to multiply 5 times x minus 1. 5 times x, 5x. 5 times negative 1, negative 5. Now we're going to subtract by changing signs. And 3 and 5 is 8. That will be our remainder. The way we write that remainder, we write it plus 8 over the divisor, x minus 1. So the result of this long division is x squared plus 7x plus 5, and then this fraction, 8 over x minus 1.